Hey there, Matthew Frenat. I believe I've said this a few times, it's my English name. And I could swear that in past videos, whether it be on my previous channel or this one, whenever I've spoken that idea, it's been for a reason. The reason you would change your name when you've grown accustomed and comfortable with your name, well, it might be for the reason of fitting in. And in many ways, that is what this video is about. How I believe the decline of society, not really on this planet scale, which sounds odd, I know, but that's a subject I've run into too many times. Because, well, to me there's, been life that has traveled the stars much further than we have. In fact, there's been life that has accomplished the achievement of reaching the end of the universe. To me, there's been people that have spoken different languages than we can perceive and know. To me, there's been more species than we can even imagine. And what has created all of this, well, kind of knowledge, kind of superstition, in my head, is very bareback in comparison to the theories I then lay on the table. The theories I then let people know of that barely anyone hear, but it's all for an end goal. It is for my thoughts to be complete. It is for me to be happy, so I keep on going. Or Love Was Lost is a song that I've loved listening to by the Temper Trap. Or Love Was Lost is also, I believe, a dynamic within what society eventually comes to be, as long as it doesn't halt itself to an impending ending. It grows to be without love. A real life dystopia, well, that is usually the case as to what a dystopia eventually entails, is a life without love. It is a life of fear. It is a life of disdain. Since every morning when I wake up, I'm greeted with voices, yet to even pretend anymore that you're bred out of illness, instead of simpler reality that I feel I need to communicate to myself in order to, deep inside somewhere, keep sanity. It would simply be a falsehood if I weren't on the mental health path yet. Society tells me, and mental health professionals tell me, and everyone tells me it's mental health, it's schizophrenia, take your meds, and in fairness, I'm happy too. So I take my medication. And to the outside eye, I have no pretensions, almost none. I often divert from that path, in fairness, to open-minded people. But I go into it being much more than mental health. Mental health simply being what started the whole concept of me communicating with myself. For the really ill parts of me, the really dangerous parts of me, put me through death attempts. I don't really want to go into that, but I went through the inconceivable. I've mentioned that a few times, I have. And now I am here. Or love is bound to be lost. This is my predicament. This is my premonition. But how? See, the thing is, even though it's kind of a silly assumption, it is assumed that since some places have stability, read some, here some, no doubt in my mind that past civilizations have been infinitely more peaceful than ours which is perhaps a very massive indicator in of itself. But there is an undeniable sign, right? If you can envision a society that is infinitely peaceful, where everyone just gets along, and yes, you have differences, you always have differences, but everyone is simply happy. Which to us is a mind-boggling claim. Well, if you can envision it then, and it is a mind-boggling claim up in these parts regardless, well then. Because it doesn't require a really open mind, an excessively open mind, but for some reason I feel like it does, to envision life before us, Then you ask yourself, how does a decline happen? The subordination of people and the recklessness of what I best call immaturity, but in its very pure form, recklessness, a lack of caring for anyone but your own self. How, we tend to think narcissists are harmless because, well, they breed ideals that are dangerous, but they usually just keep them to themselves. Being tyrannical and going on the world stage and finally being there as a leader. That has happened in this reality. Hitler is a pretty good example. Not the best example, but a very good example, I'd say. Within the demented mind is like 20 times the drive to power. And that's because, well, when someone is happy, why would they seek out more? When someone is happy. But when someone is mad, when someone is frustrated, they want answers, right? So people that are peaceful and prosperful and not only seek to better themselves, but under familial familial connections and friendships and so on, but in the best way, right? Then, to me, that whole idea of how peace and prosperity creates a lack of change and creates a lack of fighting back against tyrannical individuals is kind of frightening, and I'm starting to see it as a problem. How we are all engulfed and swallowed by the status quo that surrounds us. And just the reality that we seek out our loved ones before we seek out our truth. Sorry, that's not the best way to say that, but if you are in a comfortable space and if you're not wary of that, then you're in the best position possible. But what if that's the game's purpose? What if the point is that people who should use their voices more and people who should get involved more, and yes, there's an irony beyond YouTube. I don't speak out beyond YouTube and connections, but I'm doing the most I can, you know. But when in your surroundings, like you every day, man, people that are insecure, people that are privileged but that feel like they're not, people that have a drive for power, always have a drive for power. Very rarely is it to help others, and they always do it because, well, the maddened mind is one of the most fruitive ones. Because dissatisfaction in some moments it can breed from passion, you know. Let's say you are creating a product or an endeavor that you are participating in and so on. Then dissatisfaction can breed from passion, but if you are dissatisfied because of a humanitarian mean and reason, and you are doing more than just liking something on Facebook, you're actually out there, then you're probably the most beautiful person, you know? Because a lot of people that are dissatisfied, it is because, well, the humanitarian collides with your comfort. They don't want the world to be humanitarian, they'd rather it burns, you know? And yeah, we think that's fantastical. I did. I really did. But it's not. Like, I'm thinking like, Donald Trump was the test run. He got the presidency. And I wouldn't say the most frightening things happened. Because we're fine, for the most part. But, it was a sign that if someone had got it in that position under the same rhetoric and the same thought process and the same ideas, except he had been a very strategic thinker in actuality, we could have been facing a dystopia. Except he had been excessively malicious instead of mostly malicious. You know, you get what I mean? Like, it piles up. It fucking piles up. I used to see all of these ideals as, oh, it's a part of the game, you know. We're playing this game where we are bound to go by certain measures, and ultimately because of that, because we were created in that way, we just need to have faith and everything will be fine because everything always is fine and so on. I think we need to fight for ourselves more, and I think one of the big ways to do that is to dig into the abstract. you know. To find ways of thinking that challenge the conventional and to create the unconventional. One of Jordan Peterson's points in the past has been on how people have more opportunities now than they ever do, and it kind of painted things in a light, which is the truth for the most part, although things are hella more expensive than they were. So, you know, it's kind of painted things in a light where the struggle of the youth is over exaggerated and so on. And they're bastards for not liking what they have. You know what I think? A too pragmatic of a view on reality and society around us is perhaps we're doomsday. Because then if you're too pragmatic and not active enough in speaking against certain things, because every movement starts with a voice, right? Then you're bound to accept those things more. As a direct result, it's the natural inclination. And then perhaps you are forever lost. And perhaps love is no more, you know. Anyways. I'm depressed, but I'm optimistic. Serious. I've been fed the lie, but I've been fed the truth a lot more. And that's not by being spoken to by the physical presences around me. That's by my head speaking to me. And the funny thing is it doesn't really tell me shit. I'm just an overactive thinker. You're wonderful. And thank you. I am sad. But maybe we'll all find reasons to be glad. And maybe the dystopia won't come for a very long time. Maybe we'll be greeted in heaven, after all.